We're going. Hey, we're going.
You like this?
This is cool. We're on a mountain. On a
Hey, if you look over to the right-hand side of the train, you'll see where the ground's kind of scraped away here. This used to be where the Yellowbird mine once stood. It had a large pile of waste rock on top of that ground there. That was crushed and hauled to Colorado Springs and sold for landscape materials. On the left side of the train here, the small mine closest to us was the Redbird. Just up the hill there, you see that building with a cupola on the roof. That was the blacksmith shop for the Anaconda mine. On up above that, the collapsed building, that's the blacksmith shop for the Conundrum mine. And then over to the right where the metal tanks are and the other mine workings, that was the Moon Anchor number 1 and 2 mines up there. This smaller mine we're passing here on the left now is the E. Porter King mine.
See, they did a lot of mining there. That's why these towns right here, where they found gold, these towns shot up.
So then they realized that it's good to make towns and mountains.
Some mountains are they?
But these mountains have stuff on them.
They do.
Like swings, mines, cities, little cities. Because it's really hard to build stuff on mountains. Because there's all of the big hill things. Because they're mountains. That's why mountains don't have a lot of stuff on them. It's hard to build on them.
Now on the right-hand side of the train, just down through the trees here, this is the Good Chance mine. At the bottom of the valley there, you'll see a little dirt road off to the left there. That's where the entrance to the Moffett Tunnel is. The Moffett Tunnel is about 1.5 miles long and connects to over 30 different mines. And I'll point out some of those mines a little later on in the trip. The mine we're passing here on the left side of the train right now, this is the Pointer mine. This did produce around $3 million worth of gold. There's Phil we're starting to cross right now. We call it $1 million Phil. This used to be a 400-foot long wooden trestle. As the wood deteriorated, they replaced it with low-grade gold ore. Back when they mined all this ore, it was too expensive to process. And they ended up filling a lot of these bridges clear on down to Colorado Springs. At today's values, it's estimated there's over $1 million worth of gold under the tracks just right here. Hey, the mines that are alongside the tracks in this area are all connected to the Moffett Tunnel. That was originally dug to be a drainage tunnel, and it later on became the primary access to a lot of these mines. It was much easier to go in the tunnel than it was to climb up the side of the hill to get to your mine. It worked best.
Why is there so much mines here?
There's a lot of gold here.
Gold?
So yeah, we're trying to make money. Someone fell out.
What? Why did you fall down, Mommy?
I don't know, baby.
Hey, this is what we call Echo Valley here. Around the turn of the century, there were about 475 working mines in the district. A lot of these mines had steam boilers that they used to power their hoists, and also steam whistles to signal shift changes. And there were also 3 railroads in the immediate area, and as many as 50 trains a day might come through here. You could hear their whistles as far away as 10 to 12 miles. We'll blow the whistle a couple times and listen to the echo.
Here we go. Here it echo.
Is that a nurse lane?
Oh, it's us.
Down on the bottom of the valley here, that clearing that you see down there, that used to be where the town of Barry once stood. It used to have a population of just over 200 people down there.
No, the whistle after.
On down around the corner,
That was
the other side of the dirt road there was the town of Mound City. There were just over 100 people that lived in that town. Between the two towns, to the left of the power lines, just in the trees right there, there used to be two gold processing mills. One was named the Brody, one was named the Rosebud. All of these towns and mills were established in 1891, and in 1904 a fire started down in Mound City. It swept up the valley and destroyed everything, including the town of Anaconda. Anaconda used to be located up ahead of us. It's now underneath that pile of gray rock up there. Anaconda had a population of around 2,500 people, and it was the fourth city in the state to have electricity and running water. Our railroad station that we use today did survive that fire originally. Straight across from us here, the mine you see, that larger mine, that's a El Paso mine. That was open until 1975 when they had a fire in the hoist house that destroyed the hoist, and it was never rebuilt after that. During the later years of operation, it was used mainly for mine tours. It has a mine shaft that's 1,500 feet deep. That's as tall as the Empire State Building is, or as deep as the Empire State Building is tall. And it has about 33 miles of tunnels in it. It did produce around $14 million worth of gold. Over to the left, you'll see that wooden retaining wall above the highway there. That was a part of the Mary McKinney mine that was relocated from just above Anaconda just a few years ago. On up above that, the head frame that you see there, that was the Dr. Jackpot. That was also relocated from above the town of Anaconda. Further to the left, the big mine that you see there with the big sorting house on it, and that up on the right side, that little building was a caretaker's home up there. That was the Chicken Hawk number 1 and 2 mines. Those were known to be the hottest mines in the district, with temperatures up to 120 degrees on some levels. Well, they cooled those mines down a little bit by drilling a tunnel in from the side of the mountain, and that intersects both of those mines. You can see how that tunnel is right along the Midland Terminal right away, and it's right down, it's covered up now, but it was next to that telephone pole right on the Midland Terminal right away. Back when the train was running, all the hobos would jump off there in the wintertime. They'd go in there to stay warm, and they nicknamed that tunnel the Hobo Tunnel because it was always full of hobos. Down below us here, the paved road, that's Highway 67. That goes south from Cripple Creek to Victor, and then on down to Florence, which is east of Canyon City, just south of Highway 50 there. That's built on the roadbed of the Florence and Cripple Creek Railroad. That was the first railroad to arrive in the district in 1894, just 6 months ahead of the Midland Terminal. And it was the most profitable, paid for itself in the first year of operation, but only lasted until 1912 when they had a flash flood down Phantom Canyon that destroyed 11 bridges and 8 miles of track, and it was never rebuilt. That's a real pretty drive going down that way to Highway 50. It's a little slow because it's a dirt road. There's another way you can go too, if you're pretty brave, I guess. Down below here, the little dirt road is called the Shelf Road. It starts in Cripple Creek. It's just 26 miles down that road. And if you want to see what it's like to drive on the edge of a shelf, that's what you do. You take that road down there. And it's a big cliff and one-lane road, and a good place to take a rental car. Okay, we'll back up now, and then we'll stop at the World's Fair mine. That's where we turn around. And I'll tell you about the big mine up ahead of us there when we get there.
Is that birds?
It's very far from the mountain, I guess.
What?
Yeah, ahead of us on the left, some of you may have seen it as we came down in here. There's a concrete slab on the ground. That covers the World's Fair mine. If you missed it, you can look as we pull out of here again. It's on up ahead of the train now. But there's a metal grate on that, and that's to allow miners to get in there, or geologists and things, and also to help ventilate the different mines, because a lot of these aren't connected together. And also a lot of bats live in the mines. So when they cap off all these old mine shafts, they like to leave some of them open for that purpose. Now the big pile of rock you see over there, that's part of the Cripple Creek and Victor gold mine. That's owned by Newmont Mining Company out of Denver. That's the largest open pit gold mine in North America. And the actual pit is just east of Cripple Creek, right over the hill there. And that's what they do is they drill down in that pit and they blast that rock out. And then they they crush it and mix it with lime. And then they truck it over here to this big pile that we see. That's called the heap leach pad. And before they pile any of that crushed rock up there, they put a double layer of heavy black plastic underneath it. That's called their liner. And then they pile that up in steps. And each one of those little stair steps, they'll put a irrigation system on the whole thing. And then they they drip irrigate it with a solution of cyanide and water. That cyanide dissolves that gold. And they get about 10% silver out of it as well. And last year they poured around 430,000 ounces. They are the largest employer here in Teller County with about 700 employees. Now, today there's no underground mines that are open unless just for a mine tour. But back in the old days, they were all underground mines, and most of them had vertical shafts. The deepest one up here was the Ajax mine. That was 3,350 feet deep. It also was the last one to close in 1985. And the richest mine was the Portland mine. Both of these mines are on Battle Mountain, just north of Victor. That's where most of the big mines were. But the Portland produced around $60 million worth of gold. That may not sound like much today, but back then, all their gold they sold for was $20 an ounce is what they got for it back then. Today they get about $1,900. Okay, we'll head back towards Cripple Creek and tell you a little bit about the town when we get there.
I thought you liked trains.
I do.
Oh god. Wish Chase was here.
Why?
Now on the right-hand side of the train, just up ahead of us and up the hillside a little, you'll see a cut in the rocks. That's called a stope. That's where the miners would follow a vein of gold underneath the ground with a tunnel. Then they'd drill straight up over their head and blast that vein out. That would fall down into the tunnel where they could shovel it into their ore cars. The biggest stope in the district is in the Crescent Mine, and that's 1,000 feet long and 400 feet high. sites here, you'll see a lot of smaller little mines. Most of these are actually prospect holes, where the prospector would dig for gold. If he didn't find anything, he'd move on and dig another hole. There's over 5,000 prospect holes in the 24 square mile mining district. There's also over 3,000 miles of tunnels underground in these mines. At one time, you could walk from Cripple Creek clear to Victor and stay underground the whole way. A lot of these mines are connected together. If you look over there towards the left side of town, you'll see a lot of scars of old streets and vacant land. This used to all be covered with houses. At one time, Cripple Creek was the fourth largest city in the state of Colorado. Had a population of over 20,000 people. But then World War I started, and all the mines up here did close down. And it wasn't long after that, you could buy a house up here for as little as $150. It was back taxes. People would buy these homes, disassemble them, and take the building materials down to Colorado Springs and build new homes down there. Part of Fort Carson military housing was built from the lumber from these homes up here.
Going on the stuff. We're not going to go on it.
The cone-shaped mountain you see on the far side of town is Mount Pisgah. The Ute Indians used to send their smoke signals from the top of that mountain. They're the ones that gave it that name. At the base of the mountain is the Mount Pisgah Cemetery. One of the more notable people that's buried there is Dr. Susan Anderson. She was one of the first female doctors to practice medicine in the state of Colorado. There was also a television miniseries made partially about her life called Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. church. That still is in use today. To the left of that, that large building, brick building with a cross on the roof, that was the St. Nicholas Hospital. One of two hospitals that used to be here. That's now a hotel. Over to the right, the building with the arched windows was the Cripple Creek High School. That closed in 1975. That is now a hotel as well. Just below that building, you can see the brick building with the fancy brickwork on it. That was the gold mining stock exchange. It was the largest this side of the Mississippi River with over $700 million worth of gold stock sold there. To the right of that, the large building you see is a newer hotel and casino. That's built on what used to be the site of the Grand Opera House. Grand Opera House is where Jack Dempsey fought some of his first professional fights. He was a miner for a short time over in Victor in the gold coin mine. Groucho Marx was also there early on in his career with a vaudeville show. And the first indoor rodeo ever held in the United States was in that building there. The paved road down below us is Myers Avenue. That used to go underneath the tracks next to us here and on up to the base of the hill up there. This was Cripple Creek's red light district. There were over 70 saloons on that street, 35 parlor houses. Most famous of the parlor houses is the old homestead. That's that white building down there you see with the red sign on the side. That's now a museum. In April of 1896, a fire started on Myers Avenue. A barmaid and her boyfriend got in a fight, knocked over a kerosene stove that burnt half the town down. Just 4 days later, another fire started in the Portland Hotel, and that burnt the rest of the town down. Well, they passed an ordinance immediately that everything in the business district had to be built out of brick. And by the end of the year, most of the town was rebuilt. By then, there was 3 railroads hauling supplies every day, and they got the town built pretty quick. But all the dates on most of the buildings on Bennett Avenue there are 1896. Okay, in 1890, that's when Bob Womack first discovered gold up here. He was a rancher and part-time prospector, and he staked his claim about a mile and a half up the valley there ahead of us, and he called it the El Paso Lode. And while celebrating his find, he sold it for $500 in a case of whiskey. The new owners changed the name to the Gold King Mine, and it went on to produce $3 million worth of gold. Old Bob never did strike it rich after that. Okay, we'll head back into the station now, and we'll pull forward, and then we'll back down that other track you see over there. And when we're over there, you can look up the valley and see Bob Womack's house pretty easily from there. It's a little log cabin just to the left of the telephone pole. Okay, hope you enjoyed your trip. Thanks for riding today.
at the class cars. I see the station. We're here at the station.
Do you like the trade rod?
Mm-hmm.